Good morning to the kinksters, the candid, the curious, and the casual. I'm Jay, and this is Kink Candid. And this particular episode is Jay's Soapbox. A soapbox is a shorter episode that Shay and I have decided to get into. It usually ends up being a rant of some kind that we just want to quickly drop in an audio and talk about something that's bothering us. Because we know that sometimes you all want to just vent, and we do too. This seemed like a perfect platform for that. So this is going to be a shorter episode, I hope, because I hope. Unfortunately, once I get going, there's no telling how long I'll rant for, but we're going to try. We live in a world where, in today's world, gender isn't always obvious, and we're kind of fine with that. Now, what I mean by that is this. I live in a household with my wife and a roommate, my son, and my daughter. My daughter doesn't mind being referred to as my daughter, but she refers to herself and has come to refer to me for reasons I'm sure we'll get into at some point, whether it's today or not, as gender fluid. Now that to her, this means that sometimes she feels feminine and female, and sometimes she just doesn't, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with however she decides to identify her gender, and because it's not my business, it's not my problem. My job as a father is to make it as easy for her to get through the world that is, not the world as I wish it was. Now, what brings this particular topic to mind is an incident that happened with us, well, with me, uh, a few days ago. I spend a lot of time online playing with various friends and talking with various friends. Um, I play a lot online because, due to my health concerns and my wife's, we don't get as much playtime in the physical as we used to. Um, but as you've heard from every romance and rom com ever, and I cringe even saying it, but I have needs too. And my wife and I have come to an agreement that this is something we're comfortable with because at the end of it, she knows where I'm coming to bed and who I'm coming to bed with. And to us, this doesn't seem anything that needs worried about. Anyway, on to the meat of the topic is this. I was hanging out a few days ago with some friends of mine online, and we were playing a dice game. Yes, dice online. Not terribly interesting, but we weren't even playing sexually because that wasn't the type of interaction this was. But still, all in all, this was an important incident I felt once I'd had some time to think about it. Um, One individual, who I'm going to refer to as Delta because I'm not into outing anyone, and even idiots deserve their privacy. As a matter of fact, I'd prefer they keep it private and keep their idiocy away from the rest of us, but, you know, not always possible. We were talking, and Delta, after hearing a new acquaintance who I hadn't met until that day speak on an audio call, referred to this individual, who I'll refer to as Tango, with feminine pronouns and expressed how attractive her voice sounded. Now, Tango, I will admit, has a very attractive voice. And it's an easy mistake to make, especially when you're not looking at somebody. You don't always have the visual. Sometimes that's possible on the net, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the people you're talking to don't feel comfortable showing their face online, and sometimes they don't feel comfortable giving their voice. And that's okay too. But this was an audio call we were all in at the time, and Delta referred to this person with feminine pronouns. And Tango very politely corrected and expressed that he was a male and would be grateful if people would refer to them that way. That's fine. That's that's Tango's choice. Whether it is or isn't true or whatever, uh, it is the way that Tango felt comfortable being referred to, and we all respected that, except Delta. After being corrected rather politely, Delta decided to double down on his stupidity by asking a truly cringeworthy question. So, are you, Delta says, are you F to M, meaning are you a female who's transitioning to a male? And right there, ladies and gentlemen, if I hadn't thought there was a problem before, I knew there was one now. Because even if that had been the case, which I'm assured it isn't, because Tango then justifiably lost his temper and said that he was born a dude and would like for everybody just to go fuck right off. And I can't really blame him. It would have annoyed me too. Because not only did Delta make a mistake, which is something we all do from time to time, but upon being corrected, upon having his mistake pointed out to him, decided to double down on his stupidity. Not only had he been corrected and been told that Tango was male, and would he please respect that, but after having been corrected like this, he decided that one way or another, it was his business to find out why this was the situation. Not his business. Not your business. Not my business. You don't ask questions like that. Ever. If you run into an individual and they feel comfortable discussing their gender with you, then they will. If they don't feel comfortable, they won't. And either way, your job, my job, Delta's job would have been to be fine with that. It's not that hard to not insult people. You don't always have the right to every answer. You don't always have the right to even ask every question. Some questions are just too unseemly, especially when dealing with somebody you've just met and have no clue about. Keep that person's feelings in mind. My parents and my grandparents always told me that you only have one chance to make a first impression. And it's very true. Sometimes, very rarely, you can make a complete ass of yourself. It happens. And then have a chance to repair that particular interaction, have a chance to come off better than you were. Uh, my best friend and I are a perfect illustration of that. We started out, and I don't know whether it was nervousness or what on my part, but we didn't get along at all. I made a complete ass of myself, and I knew that. The next time we met, I apologized for it. I said, look, I don't know what came over me, and I apologize. And we've been friends ever since. But you don't always get that chance. You're not entitled to that chance. So always be aware of the person's feeling on the other end, especially on the net. The net is a place where everybody should feel comfortable, and making them feel uncomfortable, asking those questions that, although curious and interesting, aren't our business, damages that comfort zone, which then damages the relationship and makes the situation unsafe for anybody. Um, Delta, I am happy to say, was very quickly and decisively dealt with. By the next morning, he had been removed from the community we were a part of. He'd been banned from the sim that we were playing on, and with the owner's sincere apologies to Tango, because one of the first things you see when you walk onto this sim is a giant sign that tells you there are 4 rules. Respect is the very first rule, followed by be yourself and have fun. The 4th rule is this: if rules 2 and 3 violate rule 1, see rule 1. Always respect before anything else. And that's something that gets forgotten often, I have to say, on that sim, on others, anywhere. But in this instance, Delta was very quickly and decisively escorted out the door, off the sim, and hopefully he can move on and find a place where his behavior is more appropriate, because Tango and our other friends won't be dealing with him any further. And I'm kind of fine with that. He has the right to be stupid, but he can go be stupid, elsewhere. Hopefully, he'll learn. He has the chance to do that. What he no longer has the chance to do is hurt someone who doesn't deserve it. Remember, when you're out on the net, because in today's world we all are, it's not only your privacy that's important. It's not only your comfort that's important. And it certainly isn't always your curiosity that's important. The comfort and privacy and safety of the people around you is just as important. If you can remember that, the world will be better for all of us. And that is about all I have.
After your fun, kinky activities, we used to talk about going and having a cigarette. How about you switch to vaping? Vaping is so much safer and better for you. And for all of your vaping needs, I highly recommend Vapin' Robbies. VapinRobbies.com. We're also Vapin' Robbies over on Facebook. Pure, unadulterated vape joy in the form of custom artisanal vape juices in any combination you can possibly think of. Check it out and let us know Kink Candid sent you.